Hello, hello. It's Melanie here, and welcome to the gratitude series. We're going to do 7 days of some gratitude practice, as well as I want to go a little bit behind why gratitude is actually a very powerful force for good, for transformation, for expansion, for being happier as a business owner. So this is one of my first Facebook Lives. I thought we would kick it off with doing gratitude. And of course, as soon as I was getting everything ready to go, the door's knocking and the dog's barking. So hopefully they won't come back. But I know those of you that do Facebook Lives all the time, it's kind of all about like getting the timing right? So why gratitude? If you are someone that already practices gratitude, this is probably easy. I would love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and jump into the comments. Why is gratitude so powerful as a business growth practice? And if you're like, okay, I get gratitude, I know there's a value and appreciation, but maybe you haven't really cultivated. Thank you for the love. I see Sherry Rose. Hi. So great to see you. I know if you have heard about it, but maybe you're not practicing it, you may not necessarily realize why it is so powerful. And I don't know if you see this for yourself, but around the holidays, this tends to get more poignant for me. And I think for a lot of people, you're spending time with family, you're maybe away from work a little bit more. Here in the United States, it's Thanksgiving week, and it's a big thing about celebrating abundance. So I thought it would be a great time to kick this series off. Now, if you've ever done any of my mindset work in the Money DNA program, then you may already have a little preview into why gratitude is such a valuable and powerful state. And if you've really like done the mindset work, most people are saying like, you need to have a gratitude practice. You want to have gratitude every day in your life. Well, I have gone through some really interesting times over the last 10 years. And I know for me, gratitude became very, very in my face when I realized I wasn't having gratitude. So I thought I'd share a little bit about what I went through and why I found that gratitude was actually missing in my life. It was missing in my business. Even though I knew the power of positive thinking and I had done so much NLP work to do transformation of mindset, I was like many high achievers. And if you're a high achiever, maybe you can relate to this, finding that I was very focused on what wasn't working in my life, what wasn't working in my business. And, about 7 or 8 years ago, there was a lot of things that I was really struggling with. I was going through a very, very difficult transition in my business. A lot of things were changing very rapidly. And as a recovering control freak, I was not too happy about that. But what I found is that it was very easy for me to lock into what the long list of things were that I hadn't got done, what the failure was, what the disappointments were. And I was kind of racking up a long list and focusing on them. My anxiety had gotten very high and I felt a little lost. And I realize now that I think a lot of entrepreneurs at some stage in their journey go through this phase, especially if you're teetering on the edge of feeling burned out. Maybe you, like me, have pushed yourself really, really hard and you may be teetering on a little bit of burnout or a lot of burnout. Well, when you're in that space, what happens is, and high achievers and very driven entrepreneurs, maybe you can relate to this as well. Like we have a very, very long list. Like you could kind of get the scroll and it drop to the ground and it still wouldn't be long enough to capture all of the things that we haven't done yet, or that didn't go the way we had hoped, or the disappointments, or the frustrations, the challenges, the problems. It's actually life. It's the way things are, right? But we get caught up in what's not happening fast enough, or maybe even sliding into a little bit of that victim energy of what's been done to us and the disappointment of the dream that you had for your life or your business, and then the reality of where you are. Well, when I was going through a very, very tough time back in 2010, I was very steeped in a very long list of things that were not working well and had gone terribly wrong. I was very frustrated. And I was really negative. All I was doing was complaining, and I was wondering why my friends were not spending as much time with me, right? There's nothing worse than being around someone that only focuses on the problem and is not empowering themselves to take action and to be in forward movement towards what they want. And I had a really, really amazing conversation with somebody that I got really frustrated with, and I felt like he did not understand me, and how could he possibly say those things, until I realized everything he said was true. And that was, I was only focused on the problems, and I was not experiencing any gratitude. I was not seeing what was working well, what amazing friendships I did have in my life, all of the blessings of what I had accomplished. All I could see in that moment was the failure that I was swirling around in my head every moment of every day. And I'm wondering if you can relate to this at all, maybe, if you've seen yourself there. Hi, Ricky. Thank you. Beautiful Thanksgiving to you too. Hi, Doreen. Nice to see you as well. I find that in that moment, I found that something transformed and shifted. And I've actually been able to give this gift back to my clients over and over and over again since that moment, because when you are given a transformational moment and you activate a strategy that really does work, then you want to give it back, right? Have you ever had that experience where you learn something and you realize how powerful it is and you want to give it back? And that was gratitude. So I started a gratitude process that may seem kind of obvious, but again, as I've noticed, a lot of high achievers, it's not obvious. We are so focused on what's next, where we need to go next, what we haven't accomplished next, that we forget to really be present to what has gone well, what is working, what we have accomplished. And so we're constantly in the angst of the gap instead of in the gratitude and the appreciation for what we have done. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that list is a lot longer than you ever give yourself credit for. The reason I wanted to bring this gratitude practice into the Facebook community today, here on Facebook, is first of all, I'm challenging myself to do more Facebook Lives. I've not really been a huge Facebook Live person for the last few years, even though all my friends are like, Facebook Live, Facebook Live. And I'm actually getting my clients. You know, it's one of the things of being an influencer and being someone who wants to be seen. You got to be on Facebook Live. So I'm putting a lot of my clients on it. So I have a firm belief I'm going to ask my clients to do something, I have to do it too. So you can help hold me accountable to that. But the other thing is, as we move into the holidays, I find that our gratitude can be tested. We're going to be around people, maybe family, that can maybe trigger us a little bit. We're kind of closing out the year here. For most of us, the December month is a closing of the year. And with that, you can tend to focus on all the things you didn't do. So I want to inspire you and maybe challenge you to step into gratitude with me through the rest of the year and bring it from a nice idea into an active practice, so that as you close out your year, you're closing out your year in a state of powerful expansion instead of feeling that negative, kind of deep spiral that many people go into when they think, I haven't done enough. I didn't really accomplish what I wanted to. My guess is that you went through something this year, even if you didn't hit your goals, that has, if you tap into the gratitude of the learning, can actually make you a better business owner and entrepreneur. So today, as we kick off, I'm going to cover 5 things that are really life-changing when you start to use gratitude. And then each day over the next few days, through these 7 days, I'm going to keep bringing back one of these techniques, one of these activators, we might call them, to bring it front of mind for you throughout the week. So it'd be fun to have you jump in and share in the comments how you're going to apply that this week and going forward, hopefully. So, and by the way, before I forget, I've actually recorded a podcast. If you're not following along with Amplify Your Success, the podcast will drop on Wednesday, and I'll share that with you to help out. I go a lot deeper in the whole idea of gratitude and how it can transform your business. So it might be great to listen to that a few times if you really want to up-level your game around gratitude. Okay, so let's talk first about the gratitude mindset and why the mindset of gratitude is a really pivotal piece of this whole puzzle. So gratitude, the act of gratitude is literally changing your thought from what isn't working to what is, to what, instead of what you don't have, it's to what you do have. And if you ask any really successful person, they will tell you that they have a gratitude practice. There is a practice of moving their thoughts from what didn't work to what does work. And Oprah's famous for a lot of her quotes on gratitude and how she really transformed what her bounty was by focusing on the littlest thing to be grateful for. And what happens from a more of a NLP explanation, what's happening in your mind is you're moving from a thought that makes you constricted. So when you focus on a problem, when you focus on a challenge, you focus on what you don't have, how do you feel? You feel a little bit negative, right? Like, or a lot negative. And you may feel, hey, Stephen, nice to see you. And Nizam. Okay, I'll check in with some comments in a minute. But the idea of the focusing on what you do want, it moves you out of that constricted negative vibration and into a more expansive vibration. So when you're focusing on the problems, you're complaining, you're being negative, you're not going to see opportunity that's right in front of you probably. Your focus is going to really be on what's not working, and that constricts you. When you focus on what does work and you're really in a space of gratitude, it changes your energy, it lifts your vibration. There's actually scientific studies on the different thoughts we hold and how negative and constricting, contractive thoughts move you down in energy vibration, and positive, joy, happiness, peace moves you up the vibrational scale. Well, when it comes to your business, guess what? If you're focused on what's not working, you're going to be in that negative state. You're not going to be excited and inspired to do big things. You're not going to be in bold action. You're going to do the least amount of effort, right? You're going to really just be in scarcity. And oftentimes this is where I just need to do enough to not die today, right? I just need to do enough to get through today. I just need to do enough to not fall apart. And that's what happens when we stay in I don't have enough, there's, all these problems, and they're in that negative state of mind. So the practice, the mindset shift when you practice gratitude is you're committing your mind and body to be in an expansive, positive state, which moves your vibration up, which makes you more inspired, which makes you more, it makes you able to tap into and expand the good in your life. You will see more opportunity. And you will focus in and collect more of the good. This is what's so interesting to me. And as we go into the holidays, I encourage you to practice in your relationships. How easy it is to put the laundry list of things you're frustrated with your kids, with your parents, with your spouse, with your aunt, your uncle, all the people you're going to, be with over the holidays. It's very easy to collect evidence on why that person wrongs you or what's wrong with the relationship, especially if you've got an ex involved, right? Well, what happens when you start to focus on the gratitude, what the things are that do work? You start to experience more love. You start to experience more acceptance, and you have that gratitude again for who they are and what they bring into your life, even if it's one thing, right? It doesn't have to be everything, but one thing. It's an expansive energy. So when we practice a mindset of gratitude, we literally train our mind to focus on what's good first, instead of what's bad, what's wrong, what's missing, what didn't work, all of the things that we can collect that bring us down. So that's the mindset of gratitude. And when I was going through my tough time in 2010, one of the things I found is that if I made a game of being in a grateful state of mind, even though I felt like the world was falling apart and the rug had been pulled out from underneath me, I could actually, instead of going through the day feeling miserable and feeling sad or depressed or anxious, I would actually feel happy. And more opportunities were starting to pop in, probably because I was changing my energy, my vibration, but mostly because when you're in an expansive state, when you're in a gratitude state, you actually attract more good. So I call it the red Volkswagen theory. So when I was really young, I bought a Volkswagen Bug, and I got it green, and then I made it red. But when I was thinking about what color to paint the Bug, I was looking at all the different colors, and I'm like, I don't really see a lot of red Volkswagens out there. I'm going to paint my Volkswagen red. Now, of course, this was in the 80s, right? It was a long time ago. And I painted my Volkswagen red, and the next thing you know, I'm driving around. Everywhere you go, you would see a red Volkswagen. It's the same with gratitude. Thanks, Teresa. I appreciate the love. It's the same with gratitude. When you are focused on what's working, you collect and you find and you see everywhere the good. But if you're in a negative state, you collect, and everywhere you go, you see the bad. If you are in a negative state, you see more negative. If you're in a positive state, you're in an expansive state, you see more positive. And that's why it's so valuable, not just in relationships, but in your business. I'll go more deeper into this on the day when we do the series on basically one of the steps is practicing gratitude with others. And one of the things I've noticed is when I am collecting evidence on, I've always had a team. I've had a team for the last 14 years in my business. Sometimes it was just one assistant. Sometimes it was a company that had other people that worked for them, and I just outsourced to them. But at any given time, if I get really, really frustrated with the team and I start collecting all the things they go wrong, guess what? I'm ready to fire them. I'm done, because all I can see are the problems and the challenges. When I focus on how amazing they are and I commit to staying focused on the gratitude for what they do well, and then we just work through the challenges knowing that what is good outweighs what is bad, I'm always happy with my team. Same thing with significant others or relationships. When I stay focused on all the amazing things they bring into my life, I'm committed to the relationship. But if I start focusing and deep diving into, all right, this problem, I would start to question whether the relationship was right for me. And that's why when you share gratitude with others, it also helps you stay rooted in it. So let me talk a little bit more about the next habit or the next element of gratitude. We've talked about gratitude mindset. When you focus on what you have that's working and that's good, it expands you. If you focus on what you don't have, you never have enough. Okay, so that's really the essence of mindset. But gratitude habit. Habit basically means you've taken it out of thoughts and you turned it into an active practice. And that is, can you live in a state of appreciation and thankfulness and put front of mind what's working, put front of mind what you're appreciating instead of making that an afterthought. And sometimes it's about moving the habit out of your mind and into an actual process where you write. And I encourage all of my clients to every day write down at least 3 to 5 things they're grateful for. And if they're in a really bad place and they feel stuck and things are not working and they're fighting a lot of negativity, I move it up to 10. Because the more of the things that you focus on that are working well, the more magnetic that becomes, and you'll attract in and you'll see more of the things that are going well. So gratitude habit literally can be a day practice. It can be a constant state of mind. It can be something you do every week. It can be something that you do with others. Okay, so when you practice it though, and it becomes the beginning and the end of your day, what happens is your mind is in a very powerfully receptive state when you wake up. Especially the minute you wake up, you're moving between, I might get these wrong, but from the alpha into the gamma states, I think it is. And so your mind is very programmable. It's very, it's in a very manifesting space. Like it's accessed another state of mind, basically. That's the simplest way to say it. And so what you put into it at that time tends to be the influence for your day. So starting your day as you're waking up, running through the list of all the things you have to do, and then you start getting stressed and anxious, not the best way to start your day, right? But what if you were making your gratitude habit to start your day with at least 1 or 2 things that you're grateful for? Maybe an experience that you know is going to happen that day, or in anticipation of an outcome you want. Or maybe something you feel joy that happened in the few days leading up to it. Practice that art of waking into gratitude, and it will change the energy of your day. Now, close your day with it. Again, as you go to sleep, you're basically programming your mind for the quality of sleep and the quality of your day the next day. So what if you close the day with gratitude? Run through and maybe even have a little gratitude journal. I have a gratitude journal by my bedside. And so I'll oftentimes pull that out and write some of the things I'm grateful for to really anchor them in. My husband and I will oftentimes, if we go to sleep at the same time, do gratitude practice together. Okay, so making your focus of gratitude something that's present and active and consistent reminds you and kind of trains your mind and your body to stay focused on what's working. Okay, so it's gratitude mindset, gratitude habit. Step 3 is gratitude shared with others. Now, this is where gratitude gets very expansive. And when you practice it with others and you make it a active practice to communicate what you're grateful for in them, it can literally transform relationships. Okay, it is the fastest way to move a relationship that's breaking down into a relationship that's expanding again. And that is to focus on what's working and to communicate it with them instead of harping on all the things that are not working. Nobody wants to feel that. Nobody wants to be told they're not living up to your expectations. No one wants to feel like they're being a horrible friend or have a relationship that's getting ready to go out the door. But what if you communicated to them, I really appreciate when you do XYZ. How different could that make that relationship? And then you focus on the fact that they do that thing instead of focusing on the 10 things they don't do well. That's not to excuse bad behavior. That's not to make somebody who is really toxic for you someone that's supposed to stick around. It's literally to change the energy patterns between you and to make you happier and them happier. And then if there's a relationship that's meant to be, it makes the relationship flow better. I actually had a friend for many, many, many years, a very, very dear friend who, when we wouldn't see each other for a little while, she would immediately light into, when we spent time together, all the things she was disappointed in me, that I wasn't calling enough, I wasn't making enough time for her. And at first I was like, oh, I got to fix things. And then I realized, like, it's always this way. She's always unhappy that I haven't done enough. And I realized our entire life it had been that way. And I eventually started to realize that maybe that this was just a relationship that wasn't going to win. But if she had told me what she appreciated that I did do and made that the center of our relationship, I probably could have worked through the other pieces. And I think this is the way most of us feel in relationships of any kind. If you are in a working relationship where you feel appreciated, don't you want to do more? If you feel criticized and disconnected, you won't. So how could you expand gratitude through others? Can you share it with them? Are you in a group or a mastermind of some kind that you could actually create a ritual of how you bring gratitude into the space? I have several masterminds. One is the mastermind I lead through the Awaken Leadership Program, and the other is a personal mastermind I'm in. And so in my personal mastermind, one of the things that we do is we actually have a gratitude practice when we're closing out. We'll oftentimes share something that we're grateful for that came in through the space. And yeah, people get triggered in that group. There's a lot of high-powered people who have different opinions. It always brings us back into a space of love and appreciation. We actually did something really cool, and maybe this will inspire you as well. A couple years ago, no, actually last year, we had a lot of young people with us for Thanksgiving at my family's home. And so we had these little cards, and we had everybody at the table decorate and list 5 to 10 things they were grateful for. And we each read it out loud at the table. And it was so beautiful. I was crying the whole time because each of the kids in their own way and their own unique expression shared what they were grateful for. But instead of everybody kind of being on their devices and doing different things, it created this unifying experience. And it was very beautiful to experience each other's gratitudes. So find ways to have rituals with your team, your partner, your kids, at holidays, in your support circles, so that you can extend gratitude through others. Now, step 4, or element 4, we might call it, is how do you handle gratitude during the hard times? So gratitude when things are going well is easy, would you agree? But what about gratitude when things are not going well? So gratitude is something that is not contingent on everything being great. Gratitude is a state of mind. And if you lead with the gratitude for the lesson, for the experience, for the whatever, then in that practice, in that ritual of having gratitude be front of mind, you can move it into hard times easier. If you were here for the beginning, I was sharing about one of my really painful lessons early on in life, in 2010 when things were really bad. And my friend encouraging me to shift into gratitude. And I realized that it was very hard to find gratitude when I felt like I had a really long list of things that weren't going well. But it was the most important time to have the gratitude, because again, if I could lock into that vibration of gratitude, and hold on to that vibration when everything around me started to feel bad, I wouldn't slide into a victim space. I would be feeling powered enough to take action and do things that were really hard at the time. And that's why having gratitude during the tough times is so important, is we want to create the lesson and the learning to lift us above the problem so that we can be empowered enough to move through the problem. When you are experiencing a trauma, if you are experiencing disappointment, if you have, if you're in a business that's failing right now, focusing on what's not working will make it worse. But if you can activate the power of gratitude, and sometimes that's by finding the learning, finding something in it that is going to help you become a better person, become a better business owner, a better entrepreneur, a better person at whatever you do for your trade. So what if when those bad things are happening, you could just take a step back and say, okay, well, I don't even know what the lesson is, but I know I'm going through this for some reason. So I need to hold on to finding the learning. What if when this is happening, you go from, okay, everything's happening to me, this is awful, people are treating me horrible, something bad's happening, to, okay, well, today I did wake up, the sun came out, and I'm going to make it through another day. So sometimes it's the really simple things. I've got enough to eat today. I've got enough. I've got a friend that I can turn to that's got my back. And sometimes it's, you can find huge opportunities, huge learnings, huge gratitude. It's up to you to find it. Okay. It's up to you to really tap into it and expand it. And trust me, sometimes it will be really, really hard to find the gratitude. It will take everything in your body to find one positive thing in your day. But that's the most important thing that you would do, is find that one critical thing. Hi, Marianne, glad to see you're here. Now, when you are practicing the gratitude, even when the challenges are there and the hard stuff is there, again, what you're doing is you're bringing your vibration up. And two things happen. One, you will move through the tough times faster. Because when you focus on the negative, it's kind of like you're pitching a tent and camping out in the problem. Okay, so again, I know it might be hard. Grab a coach, be open, have a friend reflect back to you some good things that could be coming out of it or that are happening, even though this other thing is really huge. When I was going through those really tough times in my business, I used to just focus on, well, today I have enough money to cover my bills, or I've got this really amazing friend that I'm going to have lunch with. I've got a family that I can go over and feel supported by, right? So it was just find the one thing, or find the 5 things, or find the 10 things. And by the way, that list will grow. So the first thing that happens is you move through the problems faster when you focus on the gratitude and you find the good in it. The second thing is that you don't tend to repeat patterns. So if you've done any personal development work, you probably know that when you get stuck in your problems repeat themselves, because you haven't got the learning so that you can grow from it and create new habits and choices so you don't keep doing the same things that don't work. But when you do something positive with it and you find the learning and you basically implement new ways of being, you make better choices, then what happens is you don't have to repeat those problems, and you'll be able to not just move through them faster, but avoid them altogether. And that's one of the important things about gratitude with the hard stuff. See if you can find the learning. One of the ways, like I have all these little techniques and strategies. If you are going through a really tough time right now, you do need to honor your pain. You do need to honor that you're feeling frustrated, or there's something there that's needing your attention to deal with. I don't want you to spiritualize this and what do they call it? Spiritual bypassing, where you try to spiritualize the lesson and move through it too quickly. But what you do want is you want to be able to feel the feelings, but also embrace the gratitude of the moment, gratitude for something else if it's not in the learning itself. So the 5th element, and we'll wrap up with this, is the gratitude of paying it forward. So I left this one for last, but it's such a cool part of it. So see, when you start to live in a space of gratitude and you realize how much abundance is always around you, and that you're already in a state of financial prosperity, you're already in expansiveness, and you actually just need to expand it. One of the ways to expand gratitude is to pay it forward. And so there's a lot of ways to do it. You probably remember the big pay it forward movement many years ago. Once in a while, there's a pay it forward line at Starbucks. If you go through the drive-through, the next person, you pay for the drinks of the people behind you, which is really such a great way to share gratitude. But I would invite you to figure out a way that you can pay gratitude forward. What would that look like? Could you say hi to a stranger when you're walking by, especially someone that looks like they're having a bad day? Or if you've got a grumpy waitress, could you start talking to that waitress or waiter and make their day and appreciate, just, I really appreciate how detailed you are, or I really appreciate that you must be overwhelmed today, right? It's amazing how you can transform a life by focusing on one thing that someone's done well. It's a perfect stranger. But there's a lot of ways to pay it forward. You can pay, you can pay gratitude forward. Share this video with your community if it's resonating with you. Invite your community to get more active in their gratitude rituals. But play the game called How Can I Expand Gratitude, and share it and pay it forward today. How can I do something for someone who I don't know, that doesn't know me, but I can spark the energy of something that helps them feel appreciated and treasured. We all feel a lot of pain in our world right now. There's so much violence. There's heart-wrenching trauma. Every time I flip and open up Facebook, there's another shooting or another tragedy somewhere. It's weighing heavy on my heart. You can probably see I just, even saying that, I started to feel very emotional. I've lived a life through a lot of tragic experiences, especially as a young person. And so I'm very sensitive to what's happening for someone when they're in trauma. And I find that if we as human beings can actually live in a state of gratitude and pay it forward, what if you knew that was the way to start changing our planet? I don't think it's going to fix everything, but oh my gosh, if more people felt appreciated and valued, and total strangers showered some kind of grateful energy on you, when you're having that bad day and you're thinking of doing that negative thing, maybe, just maybe, it could change that person, the way they're thinking, the perspective that they're operating in, and give them a spark or a glimpse of something better. I think that paying it forward with gratitude is something that would be a really, really fun Thanksgiving challenge this week, especially if you're here in America. How could you pay that gratitude forward in just one small way? So thanks for joining in. If you're listening to this later, I hope you've gathered a glimpse. I'd love to hear, as we're wrapping up here, what's one thing you're grateful for? Share it in the Facebook stream below. Oh, hi, Amy. So glad to see you, one of my team members that I'm grateful for. I would love for you to share one thing here in gratitude. What is something that is working in your life that you want to show some appreciation for today? And as we go through the week, as I mentioned, every day this week, I will share something that I'm grateful for, and I'll inspire you with a post. I might do a couple of pop-up videos just to keep the energy moving. And we'll do this for the next 7 days and see what happens. If you've got something really positive that comes of it, I would love to hear about it. So, couple last things I mentioned earlier, but if you're just joining us, we will have a podcast episode go live this week on the Amplifier Success about the amazing power of gratitude for your prosperity. I'll go a little bit deeper into some of the principles that I've shared. And if you're looking for a little bit deeper support with mindset, feel free to check out the Rewired for Wealth book. It's totally free on my site. It's at rewiredforwealth.com. Okay, some people are showing their gratitudes. Teresa is grateful for her health. Me too. Thank you for sharing that. That's a big one for me too. Carmen's sharing. Hello, Carmen. Great to see you. I'm so grateful for my family and the support we share with each other. You know, if you've got a supportive family, it's definitely something to be grateful for, isn't it? I'm so glad you shared that. All right, feel free to keep them coming. Oh, I see Sharon joined, one of my my long time friends from way back in high school. So grateful to see your face. Okay, so thank you. I am grateful that you were here today. I am grateful that we live in a community where we can use technology like this, right? In a day and age, we can use technology to connect with each other. And I am grateful that I'm going to spend some time with my family later this week. And I am in much gratitude for my team today. And most importantly, I have immense gratitude for my husband, who is my rock and soul support, really lifts my soul up. So I'll look forward to continuing to see yours, and see you tomorrow for another gratitude tip. Bye, everybody.